and we're just limiting ourselves constantly, but we have a huge potential for change, for transformation, for impact. But it really requires us to, cleaning up the backyard so that we can actually be our best selves.
Welcome to Supernormalized, the podcast where we challenge the conventional, break boundaries, and normalize the seemingly supernatural. Join me, CeeJay, as we explore less uncharted realms of existence and unravel the mysteries of life experience. My treasured listeners, if you have a life story or healing modality or unique knowledge that you'd love to share, reach out to me at Supernormalized, that's Supernormalized with a Z, at proton.me. Let's together embrace acceptance of the supernatural and unusual as what it really is. Completely normal. Welcome to today's episode of Supernormalized. I'm thrilled to introduce our special guest, John Unul, a friend of mine, who is a renowned thought leader in the field of mindfulness and family constellations. Having overcome his own battle with depression, John discovered powerful modalities that have not only transformed his own life, but also enabled him to guide others on their journey to wholeness and well-being. Through his coaching expertise, John works closely with individuals, helping them to unlock their potential. Additionally, he facilitates captivating family constellation sessions in groups, which have been described as nothing short of magical by those who have experienced them firsthand. Get ready to be inspired as John shares his wisdom and insights with us today. Enjoy the show. Today on Supernormalized, I welcome John Unul, who I have known now for a number of years. And he has a practice and he works with a lot of people, sometimes individually, but mostly in groups. And it's to do with mindfulness, becoming conscious of yourself and your reality around you. John, give us your bio. Tell us who you are.
Who am I? That is the big question, right, Chris?
It's the biggest question
of life. So I believe I'm still figuring that out at age 45.
Okay.
But in a nutshell, what my bio is, let's talk about conventional sense. And I got trained. I do have a training in psychotherapy, so I worked in the mental health field for a number of years.
Yeah,
including a mental health hospital back in the days in Sydney. And mindfulness was always a part of my life. And the reason why I started that at age 28 was because of depression, actually. So I was going through a really rough time in my life, and I was put on medication, which didn't really work for me. And this is when I discovered mindfulness through a mindfulness or meditation retreat. It was a 10-day full-on retreat, which really got my attention. And since then, I've been a practitioner of mindfulness, and I've been using this with my clients. So when I was working as a counselor and then as a mindfulness and mindset coach, and also working with organizations, it was always part of the toolkit, so to speak, because it really helps people to notice what is happening, develop a sense of self-awareness, noticing what's happening in our minds, which most of the time we don't really pay so much attention to. So the mind is always in this overdrive of what is next, go, 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 especially in the Western world. And we don't seem to slow down and just notice, why am I rushing so much? So that's a little bit of my bio. I currently live in Bali, and the reason why I'm in Bali was because that I was offered a job to work at a university as a lecturer, lecturing in leadership and coaching, and that brought us from Australia to Bali, and this is just about 3 years ago. So a very diverse background, and yeah, that's me.
Excellent. Well, welcome to the show, John.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you too, bro. Look, I've done some of your. Oh, actually, I did two things with you. I did a mindfulness course way back when, and I also did a family constellations course, and both were good. But the family constellations blew my mind because it was so interesting and simultaneously weird. Can you explain? Can you explain a family constellation session and what that is and how it works and typically what happens with people?
Yeah, I mean, family constellation, as you have experienced, is kind of magic, but
Yeah,
it's not so
definitely.
magic. So this is a modality. It's actually a psychotherapy modality that has been developed by a um, German therapist called Bert Hellinger. He was actually a missionary back in the day. So he was working in Africa and he was observing Zulu tribes just to see how they actually work with conflict. And what he experienced was that they were also including ancestry, right? Whenever there was something happening within the tribe, the ancestors were always there. So family constellations is a modality that helps us to release any baggage, I would say, that we have inherited from our lineage, from our ancestry. And there's like we know scientifically when a trauma happens in our system, that trauma, if it's not resolved, it gets passed down to the next generation through our DNA. So in a way, family constellations, for example, something may have happened in your life, in your generation, in your lineage. Let's say 100 years ago, your great grandfathers something happened, and if that has not been resolved, that keeps getting passed down to one generation to another, because the system wants balance. The system wants to heal itself. And it finds a way to pass this on to the next generation so that people who are maybe a bit more conscious, maybe a little bit more aware, can do something about this. So there are certain principles in the constellation work, and there's not too many, but the first one is we work with the all-knowing field. It's called the phenomenological approach. So we're all connected when someone does a constellation, and they pick representatives to represent their family members, and we can get information about what is happening in that system. So that's phenomenology. The second one is orders, meaning that parents are big, children are small. Parents give, children take. So there are certain orders, but what can happen in families is, for example, if your parents were going through a divorce, as children, we may take on the role of a parent. Right? We may become a confidant of one of our parents, of mothers, so we get entangled into the system out of love. And the third principle is that everybody belongs. It's the inclusion of the entire system. So if someone is excluded from the system because maybe they've done something bad in the family, maybe they stole, they may have killed somebody, they brought shame to the family, and if they were excluded, the system wants that person to be included again. And therefore, generations later, we might have people resonating with that person who may have been excluded and acting out in a certain way to seek resolution. So that's a very, very interesting modality that I've discovered a couple of years ago now. I've done it, I've known this since 2013, and it was a life-changing moment for me when I did my first constellation work, because I was just working with this, the belief, I just had this ongoing belief around I'm not good enough. Like since I was young, and I know that I'm not the only one. Like in therapy field, like a lot of people, 95% of the world population feels that we're not good enough. So when I was doing my constellation work, and my background is Turkish, so there was a lot of war in that era. So we were going back 5 or 6 generations, and it looked like one of my ancestry and they had a medicine bag. So they were working with people to heal people. But that medicine bag got kind of contaminated. I think maybe they got greedy. They just wanted to get the money. And so something really happened of like, this is 5 or 6 generations. So we're talking about 300-400 years ago. I got no idea. But again, that thing got passed down from generation to generation and ended up with me, right? A couple of 100 years later.
Yeah.
So, but in that constellation, I had the opportunity to give that back.
Yeah,
because
right.
it was not mine to carry. But that's what we do. All of us do carry stuff for our ancestors in a subconscious way because we're not aware of this. So in a way, that's what family constellation is about. It's finding the balance in the system, and it's moving on with your life and giving back whatever is not yours to resolve.
I know when I worked on some of my stuff, it was really surprising because we did a constellation around me and some things that I was going through as a youngster. And one of those things, I can't remember what exactly it was, but I had in that constellation somebody representing my mother, somebody representing my father, somebody representing my sister. And then I think from what I remember, we sort of paused and sort of soaked into that idea of who we were. But we'd pick people randomly from the group to act as those people for me, to reflect to me what I needed to know. And when they started acting in those ways, the people were actually saying all the right things, although they had no idea about any of my history. So it was very surprising to see, the representation of my mother say the thing that she would say, and then the father say what he would say, and then my sister say what she would say. And within that, I found healing. It was really good to hear it from all those angles that I did not expect to have. I was like, what? It was like a telephone to the past.
Yeah, a little bit spooky, but you're exactly talking about the field, the all-knowing field, right? So we all have this capacity to tune into someone else. And when you are doing a constellation, you bring your field with you because you're always connected to your ancestry. Most of the time you don't think about that, but you have come from somewhere, Chris. Right? So your parents are behind you, your grandparents are behind you. So if you go back to 7 generations, there'll be like more than 64 people standing right behind you right now. And that's how we all came to existence, from the source, life passing on. And we forget that, and we think that we're all individuals and having an individual life, and forget that we all belong to a system. So this is a different way of looking at issues as well. Like, can I actually widen my lens around the systems? What kind of systems am I belonging to? Right? We have the family system, you have your cultural system, you have your belief systems, you have, you grew up in Australia, you have the people, you belong to a bunch of different systems, and we all belong to the system of the world, the economy, and all of that. And most of the time, we just don't really pay attention to those systems. And when we have conflict, we think like, oh yeah, I have this conflict, but can I just step back, zoom out a little bit, and notice why is there this conflict? What needs resolution in the system?
Okay. And have you seen a lot of massive changes for people that have done family constellation work with you?
Yes, I mean, I have seen change. I mean, you just have to talk to those people, I guess, who were part of the constellation. So you're one of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know what changes, because we have a session and then people go and live their lives, right? And that was something happens in that field. Something gets untangled, and even if it's just one movement towards a better life, for me, that's enough. So it's not me who's doing the healing. It's not me who's changing. It's really the client and the client's willingness to step in and start, having a courage to look at what people couldn't look at for so many years. And it's a challenging work. It's almost like we're just cleaning our closet of ancestry, and sometimes we don't even know what we're going to find, right?
Yeah. So you don't get feedback very often from people who've done family constellations?
Yeah, I mean, I get feedback, but then again, it's really hard to pinpoint why that or how that change happens,
Mm.
right? Maybe you heard something in that constellation that resonated with you and that released something in you. But it's not so much about me getting feedback because I'm doing some extra like additional training right now with someone who does a lot of organizational constellations. So systemic and organizational work, like doing this work in organizations. And I'm just really loving this training because, yes, my ego wants to say, yes, Chris, I was the one who healed you. And that's like, of course. And like sitting with this man who is 74 years old. So he's a lot older and wiser than me. He's like, yeah, who knows who's doing the healing? Like, who cares? It's like, but he also says, like, I trust my clients.
Yeah.
I trust the wisdom in my client.
Yeah.
And I trust that the client will take whatever they need to take away to put that into action. So it's not like we're magically changing something. It's really based on what you see in that constellation. What are you going to do differently in your life? How are you going to act? Maybe with your family. Maybe you have an estranged sister or brother that you haven't been spoken for, a number of years. And then you do a constellation, you can see the dynamics, what caused that relationship to be estranged. And then you can actually start taking some action because we're looking at, hey, there is a reason why that this person is acting that way.
Right.
So it's more about getting information so then you can make wiser choices in your life.
Mm-hmm. So overall, you're about tuning up everybody.
Pardon?
Overall, you're about tuning up everybody.
Yeah, I'm not tuning them up. It's more like they're connecting themselves, they're connecting to the lineage. I just facilitate the process.
Okay.
Right.
So
I just hold the space. I I look at the principles, and sometimes I know which step to take, but even if it's coming from the mind, it's like and the field, like the field is so intelligent. Like my mind has a plan. Okay, so you're telling me your story. I go, okay, we need to do this in my mind, right? And then we start the constellation, and they feel like the information that we get is just like we just have to go with the information that we receive from the field, not what I think will be the right choice for you.
Okay, so when you're in that
and
position, do you actually feel like you're you're using your intuition to know where to push the right buttons for people to make things change?
Yes, and also I'm using the field. I'm using the representatives to give me the information that the client needs to hear. It's nothing to do with me. It always in the service of the client.
For sure.
And the client needs to resonate with what is happening. So it's really about, you can do an amazing piece of work, but you may be completely disconnected from the client, and the client is just, so overwhelmed with what's happening with the traumas or whatever, they can't take it in. So there is no healing, there's no change because nothing gets registered. So it's always about my connection with the person that I'm doing the constellation for.
Okay.
And then we use the field, the representatives in service of the client.
Are you still teaching people how to do this sort of work, or what are you doing there now?
I'm not teaching people to become facilitators. I'm running constellation workshops, and I'm also doing this work, looking into doing this work in organizations, which is, one of the biggest passions that I have. Like, how do we make organizations a more harmonious, a more collaborative space where we can be our full self, right? I'm not sure if you had any negative experiences in the workplace, but I work with quite a lot of people, and I have been in workplace environments where things were not so great. Right? There was toxicity, and guess what? We spent an enormous amount of hours in the workplace. So it impacts a lot of the mental health and well-being of the people. who are sometimes stuck in positions that they cannot leave. Maybe they have a mortgage, they don't know what to do, maybe they don't trust themselves. So how can I actually shift that for organizations? So then we have psychological safety, we have people who care about each other. And it's not just about the bottom line, but it's also around humanizing the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I run workshops for general public, working with organizations, and and seeing coaching clients.
Okay, so tell us more about your mindfulness practices. Do you still do groups of mindfulness with people?
Yeah, I do. I run courses, introduction to mindfulness courses, and I used to run retreats. That's the one that you attended in Brisbane back in the days. I'm not running those anymore because we're in Bali, but so they could be in the pipeline. But at the moment, I'm just waiting because I feel like I'm in a bit of a transition right now in my own life, and I'm just waiting to see what is the right move. And so I'll just wait a little bit to see what emerges in the field, because Chris, I just get a little bit bored if I keep doing the same thing again and again. So therefore, I just need to, part of the evolution is like, what is next? How can I take people a little bit deeper? Is this still, resonating with me? Is this still the path? And I've changed paths so many times, which can be really challenging, when you're in the middle of it and you don't know what to do. So like, okay, let's wait and see what is emerging right now. But to answer your question, yes, still doing mindfulness courses, still, in a way, it is the basis of whatever I do, because without self-awareness, which we get through mindfulness practices, we don't have anything, right? If we're not self-aware, then I can't change without awareness. So mindfulness gives us this opportunity to be present and notice what's happening right here, right now.
What does self-awareness mean to you?
Self-awareness is noticing how am I feeling, thinking, and acting, and being fully aware of that. So what are my thought patterns? What are the emotions that I experience? And based on this, how do I act? And what is the impact of my actions? Can I just be really aware of, when I make a decision, what's going to be impact on other people? So that's my definition of self-awareness.
And how do you recommend people come to self-awareness in their own lives? I mean, do you have any, practices that you employ yourself, for example, in your daily rituals?
Yeah, you love your rituals. I know that. My rituals are meditation, like morning meditation. Every day when I wake up, there's a time where I get to center myself, and I usually do like a breath or a body scan meditation to anchor myself into the present moment. There's a bunch of different tools that you can use. Journaling is a great one, right? Just journaling in the morning or whenever you have time. Sometimes for some people, it's just having long beach walks or contemplation or yoga practices. So we're all very different, and based on the state of your mind, and you may find different tools beneficial at different times of your life. So for the mind that I have, which was, or still is at times, like very anxious, worried, constantly on the go, based on my past traumas, mindfulness is really good tool for me because it helps me to calm down my central nervous system. So I can actually, take a moment to relax and just be. So that really works well for me. My wife, on the other hand, who was in your podcast as well, she likes more active stuff. She's usually more she's a Pisces, so she's all about dreaming and all that kind of stuff. So she needs more of a physical practice. So she does like yoga and Tai Chi practices to come back into the body. So different different horses. What is it called?
Different
Different
horses for
course.
different courses.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Have you tried some of her practices and have they worked for you at all?
Yeah, I love yoga. I love. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's a balance of mind, body, and spirit, right?
Yes.
So we always need to involve the body, right? So mindfulness really helps to train the mind. I do have a regular practice of going to the gym,
Mm.
and I'm doing. I used to love yoga. I'm a little bit out of it right now, but again, things do change. Definitely. Like I just love my beach walks. I just go and when we're walking, something really happens physically to us, right? We become calmer, or we're more balanced. Something shifts when we're in nature, for example. So
Mm.
these are the practices that I do on a regular basis.
Yeah, well, definitely walking on the beach is a really special one, especially if you just be there. I mean, being having your feet on the sand, the water going over them as you walk down the beach. That's definitely a rebalancing of your own body electricity for sure. It actually takes out all those
Yeah,
negative energies. Soaks it up.
grounding for sure.
Absolutely
Yes,
grounds you. You're right.
barefoot.
Yeah, totally, totally. We all know how good grounding is. I mean, that changes everything, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Are there any other practices that you're exploring?
Well, I'm working with a somatic therapist right now.
Yes.
And I'm finding that very insightful at the moment.
Mm.
I mean, I had just 2 sessions, and for anyone who has trauma in the past, and I think we all do, okay? So somatic experiencing or somatic therapy is the way to deal with this. So I just had early childhood traumas of abandonment. So that led me into a very kind of anxious attachment style. And I just noticed in the last 2 sessions that there's this underlying anxiety in my nervous system. So I can't seem to relax. So even if I'm think that I'm relaxing, there is all this underlying anxiety,
Tension.
just
Yeah.
yeah, just driving
Wow.
me.
Yeah,
And
right.
that's the reason why I was always on the go, 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 right? My mind was always conditioned to, okay, what's next? Do this, let's go, let's go.
Oh, I know
And
that.
she is, yeah, yeah. Or the child of trauma.
I don't know. Mine was a bit of too much coffee. So,
Too high, yes. Oh gosh, coffee, yes.
oh,
That's
yeah.
so she's really helping me to feel safe in my body, which I I don't think I ever felt that.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's kind of a really life-changing experience for me to just breathe and just be in my own body and feel the safety of my body.
How interesting.
Yeah. So that's my next process at the moment.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Yeah, no, and I know that running off of the mind and that all that tension that comes in the body too. I mean, last weekend, my wife and I did a cacao breathwork session, and she was doing some work with her ancestors, and I thought, oh, I'm going to do some work with my ancestors too. So I got in there and did some super deep breathing for a full hour, and really locked in there to the ancestors and had a good chat with them. And by the end
Mm.
of it, I was buzzing out of my mind so severely. I couldn't believe it. I had to go for a drive because I had to do something. But on the road, I was like, "Get out of my way, everyone!" I was so like, it was strange. It actually brought up all this anger, and I was like, "Why am I so like?" It was actually just lots of energy, but it turned into anger. So I was like really sharp tongued and everything with everyone, and it was not really good. But the good thing about it was that I realized I was doing it, but I was just saying to everyone, just watch out. I know where I'm at right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was good to release that energy. But the side effect of that was in the end that I actually gave up coffee on Monday. And this is
Amazing.
my first, what day is it? Thursday. So Thursday now, I got over the migraines by, Wednesday morning, the coffee migraines, caffeine migraines.
Yeah.
And my whole world is totally different. It's like I forgot what it was like not being on coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, you're raising a really good point. I think we're all highly caffeinated in the Western world. And I did this experiment as well. I went off coffee for a week, and the first cup I had afterwards, it just put me into this constant like hyper alert, like I'm just buzzing and anxious. It's like just one cup of coffee. It's incredible what it does to the nervous system. So yeah, good kudos to you, Chris. This is amazing. Well done. I mean, let's see how that goes for you. Like I like to have a balanced life. So maybe I'll just do like once a week for a treat or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I said that to myself too. I might do that.
Yeah.
But
I think it will be good to detox first, and then you can make a choice.
That's right. Get it all out of my system. And I'm going to try 1 year without coffee and see how that goes. And it's a good change.
Yeah. And you also mentioned breath work. I mean, that's another tool that I think is very effective. I've done a number of breathwork sessions. I've done some breathwork trainings, and it's a very, very good modality to get into the body and release whatever is stuck in terms of trauma.
Yeah, we did some Wim Hof together that New Year's Eve that time. That was good. Actually amazed me because I ended up, I could hold my breath for so long by doing that method. It was so powerful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think we're using our bodies. We're not using our full potential as human beings. No. We've been so conditioned to, it's like, oh, you can't do this, I can't do that. The mind tells me this, that. And we're just limiting ourselves constantly, but we have a huge potential for change, for transformation, for impact. But it really requires us to, cleaning up the backyard so that we can actually be our best selves, and that keeps constantly changing as well each day.
Okay, so what ways can people avail themselves of your services now? I mean, you work mainly with corporates now, is that correct?
I work with it depends. I do have coaching, like leadership and mindset coaching. So if people want to work on their mindset, I'm available as a coach. I don't do counseling anymore. So for a number of reasons why I'm not going to go into this in this call, but so there's potential to get coached by me. I work with organizations, and I also run Constellations for the general public.
Okay. And Constellations are a live thing, or do you do that also remotely?
We can do that remotely. I actually do one-to-one work with clients using, some technology, so we can actually create that space. And also, some of my work is like in person. It's in Bali. That's happening like every fortnight in different places in Bali. But I'm also looking into creating a space where we can come together as a community and do some online constellations, because they work amazingly well as well.
Excellent. Wow, that's cool.
So I will let you know when that is happening.
Yeah. No, cool. I want to do some more work with you. That was cool.
Yeah.
So when you're doing coaching with people, are there common things that people work on, or is there anything that you could say is like a common sort of theme that you've seen a lot of?
Yes and no. Like it depends. It depends on the person. Like everybody's quite unique, but like working with leaders, for example, there's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of imposter syndrome, for example. Like people, high achievers, they're there, but there's this lack of trust. There is this lack of I'm here, but that must be luck. I got lucky, or whatever it is for some people.
Trust in themselves.
Yeah, they're not trusting themselves, and I mean, I think the lack of trust or lack of self-confidence is a big theme. Yeah. So I told you one of my biggest limiting beliefs was like, I'm not good enough, therefore I wouldn't go for some of the opportunities that I'm going for right now in my life in the past. So it really starts with the mindset. What is the mindset that you bring into your everyday life? So it really starts with that, because our minds are constantly talking to us all the time.
Yeah.
Right? What is your mind saying you right now? Right? Are you aware of it? So the coaching really starts with that sense of self-awareness. We use some mindfulness tools to help people to come back into the present moment, start noticing the mind chatter, what we call the judge. It's almost like I'm also doing some extra training in a modality called saboteurs. So these are certain saboteurs, like your inner judge is a saboteur because it's constantly sabotaging your life. Right? There are some other ones, such as the controller or hyper vigilant, hyperachiever, the victim. So there's a bunch of different saboteurs, but there's 9 of them that come into play. So we identify what is running your life, what kind of saboteurs are running your life. And there's a test that you can do. I can share that with you. It's a free test that will give you a list of your saboteurs, how you are operating in the world when you're below the line, right? When you're kind of triggered and you're saying like, I was in this anger, just get out of my way. That indicates that one of your saboteurs were activated, right?
Yeah.
So you were like in this cranky, screaming at people or whatever.
Oh, I was enjoying it. Don't worry.
Yeah, good. Of course, anger is great, right? Like,
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. So maybe your controlling saboteur is like, yeah, it's like, that's my road. Like, just get out of the way. But ultimately, what we want to do is, because saboteurs are very limiting, right? Although they may feel powerful, and they had their reasons why they were developed when we were children, and they helped us to survive, right? Like, so they did their job. But in a way, as adults, they're outdated right now for us. So the journey is, can I start developing my sage powers? We have the saboteurs on one hand, we have the sage on the other hand. And the sage powers are like the empathy. Can I be empathetic towards myself, right? That self-compassion. Even if something goes wrong in my life, can I actually see the good in there? Can I be innovative? So there's 5 sage powers that we also talk about, and one of them is also activate, which is like you just go into doing something based on the sages that you have, based on the information that you have. We all need to take action, right? And most of the time, the saboteurs don't allow us to take action. They say, "Hey, who are you to take action? Who are you to go for that? Other people will judge you." All of this, like, what if you fail? Like, all of that mind chatter is actually not allowing us to live fully. So I think my mission is, can you be your best self and do the work that you're here to do? And let's clean the backyard. Let's get the mindset shift happening. So then that you align with your purpose. Like, why are you here? There's a reason why you're here. And you're a unique being with unique skill sets and talents, and only you can fulfill a certain mission. There's only one Chris in this world, right? There's only one John. So if you're not living your full potential, that means not only you're missing out, but the entire world is missing out on your wisdom, right? So that's what it is. So if everybody is living from that space of full service, for full alignment to the purpose, to the soul, I think we need to start talking about, what does my soul want to do? Why am I here? And it's not a question around the mind, right? So the mind is very, very limited. But when we tap into our soul, the essence, where we came from, it's I think it's a game changer. And sometimes it's such a weird topic to talk about.
No, it's good. It's
soul.
sort of, well, I mean, it's sort of esoteric at the same time as being grounded in reality as well. So I appreciate it. I mean, I've been through times where I've tortured myself with my own inner judge and kicked myself around the block just because I felt like I didn't belong anywhere and I didn't have any path in life. I mean, I think I've come to terms with that with meditation for myself. I mean, I shut down all of the extra inner chatter that seems to get in the way of things, and that's helped me a lot. But you talking about that The idea of what am I here for? And that's one of the things that
Mm.
triggers me. I'd like to do a constellation on that. What am I
Mm.
here for? Sometimes I'm
Yeah.
just not sure, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure if we can do a constellation on this one. We can
Oh,
make an inquiry.
okay.
We can basically, put someone for your soul mission and get some information. But we won't be able to do a full constellation, right? We can get information from your soul,
Yes.
and so this is the beauty of like some of this work. Like you just have a representative who is representing your soul, and you just ask questions. It's a bit like an interview that we're doing right now. So
Yeah.
that person,
Very cool. Very cool. Uh, we're up to around about. We're getting closer towards the end. How can people find you?
yeah, coincidence.
If you're traveling in Bali and happen to be in a certain area, I won't dox
Yeah.
you, but John
Well,
likes these places and this beach. No, that's not going to work, I think.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I do believe there are no coincidences. So if people need to find me, they will find me. But I'll give you some places where people can look and connect with me. So through my website, it's consciousbeginnings.com.au. I'm all on socials, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Mostly active on LinkedIn, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they can have a look at the website. There's some guided meditations there as resources, and if they feel inclined to get in touch, they can send me a message.
Do you have a newsletter that keeps people conscious?
I don't have a newsletter,
Oh my
unfortunately.
God,
I
come
know,
on.
I know,
It's
I
so easy to
know.
set up. I could do it for you in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Actually, your wife could do it for you.
Yeah, yeah. And again, Chris, I'm really in this phase of my life where I just need to pivot a little bit
Yeah.
and see where does life wants to take me. So I'm not actively pushing my work out there because I just don't like this push energy. I can do it, and then I run out of steam. So I think the reason, and I've been, taking a bit of a sabbatical from the social media, actually, not posting much, because I just want to do this experiment to see what happens when, like, how, and I'm noticing things do come to me organically, right? People recommending me, word of mouth. I just had a LinkedIn message from quite a big organization the other day, and they're looking someone to run a 1 day executive retreat for them. So again, like the universe always delivers. Like I believe whatever is mine is going to come to me.
Yes.
And sometimes it's very challenging though, like because we all need to pay bills and we all need to do stuff. So it's the balancing act of like how much action do I take and how much flow can I allow myself to be in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I haven't figured out that balance yet. But yeah, people can find me on consciousbeginnings.com.au. Same for the Instagram and Facebook. And yeah, let's get connected.
Excellent, excellent. Is there any parting messages you'd like to share with the listeners about basically being?
Mm. Mm. Yeah, I think my message will be just tune inwards and tap into that essence that you were born with. So that essence that came from the ether, from nowhere, that is all expansive, that is all loving, that is underneath the conditioning of the mind that we have experienced in this life. So tune into that essence and operate from that place and see the magic unfold for you because you are in connection with your soul and with your essence. So that's the message that I have as we say goodbye.
Yeah, that was really cool. Thanks, John. That was awesome.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, don't
That
jump
was
yet.
fun.
Don't get off yet. we'll,
No,
we'll say
okay.
goodbye to the listeners.
Okay.
So yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. And yeah, I'll provide links to all of John's work at the bottom of the podcast notes. And bye for now. Well, it's truly a pleasure to catch up with my friend John and hear about his processes that he is working with now. And yeah, I'll provide all the links to his work at the bottom of the podcast notes. And if you've enjoyed today's show, please reach out to John and tell him. I'm sure he'd really appreciate it. And you'll find on his site all sorts of tests and things to actually help you discover new ways of being. If you've enjoyed today's show, please give it a 5-star rating and write something really nice about it. I'd really appreciate it, and it will help other people to find the show. And if you think anyone else would like to hear this show, please share it. Share it directly to them, friends and family. Get it out there. Thank you so much for listening, and until next show, bye for now.